Right then, welcome back to Angler Carl and welcome back to episode number 2 of basically method feeder fishing for beginners, or like I said in the past video, maybe you've never done method feeder fishing, or maybe you fished it years back and you want to sort of relearn everything. I'm going to go through in different episodes, different topics. Last week we went through the setup, we went through different rods, reel sizes. This week we are going through bait, what I think is the best bait for method feeder in my opinion. Let me know in the comments down below what is your favourite bait to use on the method feeder and why. And let's get into what I think are the best 3 baits for the method feeder. The first sort of thing I'm going to get into, it's not really a hook bait, but it is something that does go in the method feeder, and that is ground bait. And I may have mentioned this in my last video, but I prefer using ground bait when I'm using something like sweet corn as a hook bait that I'm using today. I'm going to get more into sweet corn as well, but one thing with ground bait, it can be a little bit faffy to sort of set up, folks. It can be a bit faffy to prepare. All I want is something like that that then crumbles up. It will sort of dry up nicely so I can squeeze it into a ball like that and then it crumbles. That to me is really good, and that's what I want, and it looks something like that. Now normally you would have to riddle it. When I'm just putting it straight in the, well, I'm using a banjo feeder today, but even if you put it in a method feeder, you don't have to mess around putting it through a riddle. Just get it like that and whack it straight in the feeder. So now I'm going to tell you lot what is my number 1 favourite hook bait for the method feeder. Now, I'm assuming a lot of you will guess it if you've watched the other videos, and it's Wafters, folks. And the reason why I love Wafters for the method feeder is just because they're so versatile. You know, you can get them in all sorts of different scents, flavours, and they're just a very good hook bait. I have caught so many of my fish on Wafters, you know, even when I went on holiday, I caught a load of fish on them then. And I've always found it to be a very good hook bait. Don't get me wrong, there has been times where I've not caught on them, but for me, with sort of like Wafters, like I've got here today on me, I just literally keep them in my bag. And the best thing about it, these don't really have an expiry date on them, even though they do have tags saying best before this date and stuff. The dates are always like 2 years on or 3 years on, and for me, they just last a lot longer than say like maggots would or sweet corn would. You don't have to mess about putting them in a freezer, you know. It's very simple and easy to do with Wafters, and also they're a very durable hook bait as well. Let's say you're getting hounded by little fish on maggots, you can always rely on the Wafter to catch you that bit better fish. Don't get me wrong, there's been times before where I've been on a Wafter and still got roach and rudd and different things, but in terms of the most durable and reliable hook bait, for me, the Wafter is just the best. So in number 2 for me has to be pellets, you know. And again with pellets, they're a good hook bait to have. You know, you don't have to mess about freezing them or, you know, using them up really quickly because they could potentially go off. Pellets come in all sorts of different shapes, sizes, scents. You know, I'd say one of the most common pellets that a lot of people love and adore is the famous Robin Red by Dynamite, and again, they're a fantastic pellet. They really are good. You can get them pre-drilled with the little holes in, so if you did want to use a bait stop to put them on, you can, or you can band them. Again, it's a very versatile bait for me. Again, a durable hook bait that's caught me lots and lots of carp, and you can catch bream on them, bream-like pellets as well. So they're a good versatile bait and also a nice natural bait, and I always think for me, naturals are always worth trying buying, you know, let's say the wafters aren't working, get the naturals out, I would always have a pack of Robin Red pellets on me. And as well, you can get them in different sizes. They do 15 mils, 12 mils, 8 mils, 6 mils. They even do them in like little micro pellets as well. And they're a very good hook bait. And like I said, once again, they're a durable hook bait that will last, and they do very, very well because a lot of fish are brought up on pellets, so they're used to it. And on some venues, I just find using the pellet can unlock something. It really can. That would be my number 2 choice. Right then, folks, so the next bait I'm going to talk about, and this is number 3 on my list, and to be fair, it's not something I fish much on the hook because I don't know why, I'm just not the biggest fan of it, especially when I'm method feeder fishing. I'd much rather use it when I'm waggler fishing, and that is the Old Faithful sweet corn. And the reason why I've put this in number 3 is because it's cheap, and also it does last a long time. You can put it in the freezer and you can get a bit of longevity out. The reason it's in the 3rd spot is because unlike with wafters and pellets, which you can just chuck them in a tub and forget about them, sweet corn does have a tendency to go off. Like if you leave it in the fridge, you can leave it in for quite some time, but then it does start to go a bit funny, and then you have to freeze it, and then you have to make sure you remember to take it out 24 hours before you go fishing. Now it will last a very long time because obviously if you buy the tin sweet corns, you know, you can go to the supermarket, just buy a tin. I get the Green Giant one, and literally that is from half a tin. You get so much bait. Sometimes it's good as well to use as feed. For me, that's the reason why it's in number 3, but it can be a deadly bait. It can be great for carp, it can be great for tench, and also let's say, you know, a wafter ain't doing so well and you're on a venue like I'm on today where it does work better with naturals, that's when I'd opt for something like the sweet corn because it is just better than putting a wafter on. So that would be my recommendation. Right then, folks, so I was not doing anything on the sweet corn, so I've just changed over to the wafter just because of how good it is, and it just works so well. But there you go, that's what you can get when you fish the Wafters, a lovely golden crucian. Really nice fish that. So let's get him back. Right then, folks, so that is pretty much it for this video. Now it has been a very, very tough day today, to be honest. I've been chopping and changing and trying different things. Like I said, we had that one crucian on the wafter. Another thing I want to say, it's always good to have these free baits with you, you know. Make sure you have some sweet corn with you, but also make sure you check the fishery rules that they allow tins on the bank, because a lot of places don't. So what I do, I just crack the tin open, put it in a bait tub and do it that way. And one thing I will always say is get your scent really stuffed commercials, you know, where there's loads of fishing, you'll have a great day's fishing, and that way then the bait you take will do a very good job. So just to have a little bit of a recap, number 1 for me, wafters. It proved it there. We switched straight onto a wafter and caught that crucian. It sometimes can just unlock things. Even when you're changing flavours and scents, that can also make it a bit easier for you, and they're very versatile wafters and they'll last you forever. I myself have a bit of a wafter addiction, so it is quite bad. And then in number 2 is pellets. Again, pellets can just unlock something sometimes. They're great, they're durable, and they work well, especially the Robin Red pellets. And then in number 3 is something that I don't personally like myself, you know, sweet corn. I'm not a big fan of it. Some people love it. I'm not the biggest fan, but it's always good to have on you. And like I say, if you've got a few tins at home, it'll last for ages. Don't forget, when you open it up, I would freeze it straight away after, and then the day before, then take out the freezer, so it's good to go for your session. So that is it for episode 2. I hope you enjoyed it. I will be back next week with episode 3 of this method feeder fishing guide. Like I said, this was a quick episode, but I felt like it was something I really wanted to address because because bait is such an important thing, you know, there's all kinds of bait, but that's the order that I would do it. And obviously over the years of me method feeder fishing, I've had the most success on Wafters and then pellets, and obviously corn, I've fished it a little bit, but I'm not the biggest fan. So what do you use? Let me know in the comments below. I hope this episode helped. If it did, leave a like on it. I hope it gives you sort of a better idea of what bait to use and, you know, what I think of it. If it did, then share this video around with someone that you know is struggling to sort of understand the process of what bait to use, because I think it'll really help them. And subscribe to the channel, it's free of charge, it doesn't cost you a penny. I know I always say it, but get subscribed to the channel, it doesn't cost you a penny. I really do appreciate it when you do. And also, if you are fishing on the method feeder, whatever bait you're using, have a good one.